Halloween special. This is going to be a different episode. This is just going to be well, let's be honest. This was going to be a back of the rack normal, like, you know, Halloween special where we cover a spooky-esque game. But, well, we played the game. And we sort of ran into the issue of it being the most bland, like there's nothing to really say about it kind of thing.
There's some stuff to say, but it's gonna be mostly negative, and I hate making a negative video. You know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna talk about a game, I want us to at least be able to appreciate and pick out. And I mean, there is some stuff in BloodRayne that we could probably pick apart once we get to talking about it. But I mean, it's more fun to talk about everything else.
Right. Yeah. This is
surrounding BloodRayne.
It's gonna be a mix of a regular BOTR episode where we sort of talk about, you know, some of the development trivia, things like that, and then we'll probably talk about just what we've been up to in this short little break that we've had, because you know, big news, Sondi's in a new place
again,
a more permanent place,
permanently.
Yeah,
hopefully.
So he's in a new house, which is yeah, hopefully Hurricane Milton doesn't go over there and knock your whole shit down. But yeah, so fucking BloodRayne. I don't know why don't we start?
Where did you first hear about BloodRayne? I stole that from you. I had to steal it from you. I'm sorry.
I was gonna transition into that.
It's okay. I want to hear what you say first.
To be honest, BloodRayne, that was just like one of those games, like fucking like State of Emergency. It was just like there all the time. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I knew because it always had like the sticker, the like R18 sticker, you know, like if you went to Blockbuster or something, it always sort of had that like, this is not for, you know, this is not for kids. It was always one of those games I'm like, well, I'll never be able to play that until I'm 18, because there's no way any of my friends will have it. There's no way that I'm going to be able to buy it. And to be honest, I don't think I was ever particularly interested. I don't know, there's something about the cover. Like, I'm not into vampires. Like, out of all of the, like, you know, the monsters, like, I'm not into vampires.
That's a hot take. That's a pretty hot take. That's a pretty hot take.
I'm just... Look, no, I'm not saying vampires are stupid. What I'm saying is I'm just not into them. I understand.
Okay.
That
give me
so
your
many
monster
people...
tier list right now.
Well, so we're talking about like the mummy, the werewolves,
yeah, mummies, werewolves, zombies, Frankenstein.
Yeah, Frankenstein. The creature from the Black Lagoon, whatever he is. He's like he's like an aquatic monster.
What other aliens? Do they count?
That's too broad, isn't it? Because vampires, at least it's like they have, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Aliens, that's way too broad. There's too many types of aliens. Yeah.
I was gonna say like Bigfoot and shit like that, but they don't have like a scary move. They don't have like Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a game where you play as Bigfoot, you know, killing people or something crazy like that. But like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I agree with you. That's why I say it's a hot take. But like, I just gotta know where werewolves are on the top of that.
I would say that I think, and I'm not into like monsters generally, but I think that werewolves are more interesting. But I don't know. I mean, vampires are fine. You know, like I've seen a lot of like the main vampire movies, aka Twilight. No, but like, you know, Dracula 2000. You know, did you ever see that one?
Which one is? Or is that? I'm thinking of Dracula. Is that Dracula Untold? What's the one? It's got one of those.
That's more recent. Dracula Untold is more recent, I think. And then Dracula 2000 had that one. Oh my god, I don't even know the fucking actor's name. But there's Queen of the Damned too, that has Aaliyah in it. It's like a vampire movie, right?
Yeah. I know. I remember that movie. Oh, that's
with
a really
the cover.
dope.
I think I've only seen pieces of that movie, but Blade is obviously a vampire, or half vampire.
It's an elite vampire movie. It was like at the height. It's like, honestly, Blade is the reason for the vampire craze, for real.
In the way that it existed at that time, yes. But it was like a mix of like that gothic, like, oh, let's wear all black, leather. And
the
then
chick with the neon hair and shit. A bunch of chains.
Oh, wait, wasn't Underworld? Isn't she a vampire?
Yeah.
Do you remember those movies?
Vampires versus werewolves in the Underworld. And I think that was around the same time as Blade too. I want to say. Yeah. I think the first Underworld came out, 99? Very early 2000s. Yeah. But there's like a million of those movies. And then
I think Blade is like 2001 or something, early 2000.
Then the Resident Evil movies started coming out around this time too. Yeah, man. It was
but like nobody thinks zombies are like. Do you know anybody that thinks like, yeah, zombies are cool? Like, it's like nobody wants to be a zombie. Like, some people are like, it'd be cool to be a vampire. It'd be cool to be a werewolf. Nobody wants to be like
a zombie. That's great.
Zombie.
But I think it's because of saturation. I think because of saturation, we don't fuck with vampires and zombies. Because after Twilight, there was hella vampire movies and supernatural movies like, oh, we're pixies, or, just stupid shit. Same with after Blade. You got all these weird vampire movies, Underworld being one of those. Like, you just have this weird underbelly of vampiredom. And BloodRayne is right in that, like, cusp of fuckery right there compared to zombies. Because zombies, I mean, we're still getting zombies. Yeah. But, like, we've kind of grown. It's kind of like a zombie. We've vegged out to them. We don't really give a shit. We're just like, oh yeah, it's a game with zombies. It's whatever, I don't really care. They're just a thing. I feel
like zombies are ubiquitous. Like, you see them everywhere, but they're also like, zombies are almost like, okay, if you think about a game with zombies in it, the zombies are typically not the focus, whereas like vampires are typically the focus.
Yeah, and you're like, playing as the vampire.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's like about like specifically who's the like, I don't know, maybe that's too broad because I'm thinking of things where I'm like, okay, maybe it's not that true, but I don't know. But anyways, so that's why BloodRayne didn't really catch me when I was like a kid, and I'd see it, I'm like, okay, like hot chick, I guess, but she's a vampire, whatever. When I hit my teenage years, and then you're like looking at covers and you're like, oh, hold up, BMX XXX. Do you remember that game?
Let me hop on some. What's that game that's banned? What is it? I'm mistaken Leisure Suit Larry with that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Leisure Suit, the adventure games.
Yeah. You see like shit like that, and you're like, ooh, boobs.
Yeah. You're just like a horny little kid, and like anything that is like slightly erotic, you're like, okay.
Playing The Sims and forcing them to woohoo, shit like that.
Even though you don't see anything,
right? Like, okay. You're just like, oh, they did it, bro.
Yeah. There was that Playboy Mansion game. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
I remember always seeing that.
Surprisingly in depth, from what I
never played it. What kind of game was it?
It's a Playboy Mansion simulator. Like, it's a sim game. Like, you gotta you gotta make the magazine, you gotta shoot the recordings, you gotta manage like relationships.
That makes sense.
With the girls.
Okay.
It's like a real like roller coaster tycoon, but horny. It's weird.
Perfect. Yeah. So I was like maybe, I don't know, 11, 12 when I started to see this game, and never played it, never bothered. This was my first playthrough ever, and I didn't even buy this game. It was actually like when I bought the PS2, like the fat PS2 that I have, when I bought that last year, it came with it and some other games that I probably would have never bought. but it was on the list, and I was like, okay, cool, we can play this. It seems a little spooky, vampires. It's like black and red, and But what about you? When did you first hear about this boy?
My dad had this game. He had this game, and he specifically told me, you cannot play this game. You're not allowed. And he had this. It was on Xbox, right? It was on OG
yeah,
Xbox.
it was on all platforms. Yeah.
Okay.
PC
yeah.
too. Yeah, GameCube.
Because I remember he had
that.
it in his room, like in the master room, because they had a giant fat back in there, and he was like, "You can't play this," and I was so afraid because one, it's already weird being in your parents' room, and two, I wasn't about to be like sneak and play the game while they're gone, and like he's like, "Who the fuck save data is this?" So I was like,
yeah.
Let me not touch this. But I do remember like seeing her in magazines a lot.
Oh.
Okay. I don't know, my voice just cracked right there, but yeah, I remember seeing like, you know, the list where it's like top 10 sexy, when the same list as Neo. I swear, I gotta find this Game Informer. It's like a list they had of like top 10 sexiest video game characters or whatever, and it was like the girl from Stolen, Nina Williams, BloodRayne.
Yeah,
it was
the girl
like
from Stolen is hilarious.
It was weird, but like I just remember seeing her around all the time, and I just linked it to you, but I do remember that show on MTV where they had like the video game characters performing music videos, and I remember that BloodRayne segment where she was singing Evanescence. I remember watching that and being like, what the fuck am I watching? That, you know, when you get cable. But
yeah,
BloodRayne, I never really gave a shit. I didn't know what the gameplay looked like until I said, hey, why don't we play BloodRayne? And then I looked at gameplay and I was, didn't even look at gameplay until I bought it and was like, oh, this is completely not what I expected, but okay.
Yeah, it was received well, so I thought that was interesting. You know, I've never heard anybody. Well, me saying this is obviously the case because that's why we chose this game, but I never hear anybody talk about this game. But I hear, like, I know of it, and I think everybody knows of it. You know, like, oh yeah, BloodRayne. But like, who's played it? No one's ever talked about it. I don't think I've even seen like YouTube videos, like retrospectives on it. Like,
I've never seen I review all the BloodRayne games or nothing.
Yeah, and it's like a thing. Like, it's a semi-successful, although now not so much, game series because it spawned a movie. Yeah, it even
3
got
of them.
3 fucking movies, and then not only that, but it got 2 remakes or whatever, remasters. You know, so there's a demand for this IP, which I was like, oh, you know, kind of surprised, especially seeing it on PS5, like on the PSN. Seeing its little, I'm just like, isn't this a PS2 game? Why is this? Who's buying this? You know?
Yeah. And I think it's weird because you think about like other late 90s to early 2000s properties like Turok or like there's a bunch of like games in that like echelon that still get talked about today, still get remasters and talks about like, oh, there might be a sequel or something on the way or a remake, but BloodRayne is not one of those games, which is weird because you feel like if it got 3 movies somehow that like it's popular, like it's gotta be something, but I think it was just a cultural zeitgeist game.
Yeah. I think it's a very, like, I hate the saying, but it's of its time.
Very.
Like, you look at that and you're like, oh yeah, this feels like, I think most people could guess, like, even non-gamers, if you showed them the cover, they would be like, that looks like maybe 2000s. It's just like of its time completely, you know? But like a lot of the reviews that I was reading, a lot of people really enjoyed this game, specifically the combat.
You know, and just to go straight into it, I kind of fucked with it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of did fuck with the gameplay.
For how long? The whole way through?
No.
And the game's not long. It's like what?
3 missions?
Yeah, 10 hours maybe?
Yeah, it's just 3 missions. I think where it left off for me, where I was like, okay, was once you go into like the hive mind or whatever in the Nazi base, that's when it was like, all right, I'm done. Like after finishing that mission, I was like, this next mission better be the last mission, or this better be the end or some shit like that. And there was a whole nother mission after that, and that one was just as long. And I was like, all right, I'm not having fun anymore. I think it's the loop.
Yeah.
I think it's the gameplay loop of it because it's so floaty. It's too floaty. And at first, I thought that was cool. I was like, wow, look how far you can jump. You can like grab people and stuff. Like, wow. But then I'm like, bro, are my attacks attacking?
Yes.
Am I shooting these people? I don't know until they just die randomly. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And it was incredibly frustrating, especially towards the later half when you start getting special monsters and stuff that you got to fight. I was like, I'm not having fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about the combat too. Like I liked it at first, and I was like, okay, but then probably by the end of the first main mission, which takes place in Louisiana, in like the swampy area.
Oh yes.
By the end of that, I was like, is this gonna evolve into anything? You know, like,
nope.
And it never feels better. You never have any more control. Well, actually, let's talk about the controls real quick because I thought that they were really. I fucked around with like a lot of the ways that you can move the main character, Rain, and it's funny how much they experimented with like specific control configurations. Like the first person mode was the one that I was avoiding because I was like, I don't want to like control this like a first person character. But the other ones didn't feel right, like the strafing and the moving, like with the left stick. I'm like, this isn't right. This isn't right for a third person perspective game. Right. And then I went to the first, and I chose the first person option, and then I was like, oh, this is correct. This feels like now it's a third person. Like you're moving how we would understand a third person, character to move.
Right.
But it was just weird because it's like it was so early. It was 2002. They still didn't have a grasp on like.
This was early PlayStation 2 era, so they were still just getting the analog stick finally. They weren't even hip on like what exactly to do with that. That's back when people were still pressing like L1 and R1 to like move the camera and stuff like that. So it's weird, especially because you can tell because instead of switching your guns, it goes like lightest to strongest.
Yeah.
Or strongest to lightest, and you just like automatically swap and just use guns disposably. I know, like that was really weird. I don't know. Yeah. Like, that was incredibly weird.
It was the Wild West. There was so much experimentation, and that's what I love about doing this podcast and playing like some of these games, because it's like they didn't know what they were doing. Like it didn't. Some of the stuff doesn't feel organic. Some of it makes sense sometimes. Like in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, you can. I could see why L1 and R1 or whatever, why those shoulder buttons would be like toggling through your inventory, Yeah. But like in games like nowadays, right? In like modern gaming, it's always like pressing maybe triangle to swap to a different weapon, or maybe you have it on the D-pad, Right. Those shoulder buttons are reserved for specific things now, and when games use them for other things like swapping between categories of weapons, it's kind of weird. But there's a weapon wheel too, right? Like with games now where it's like I think you
hold R1
like
or something. Yeah. I was thinking about that when I was playing this game, where I was like, the standardization of controls in like modern gaming and like how that affects us when we go back to playing something where that standard wasn't made yet, and we're like, oh shit, what the fuck? Ugh. But that's just how it was back then. Everybody was just like, all right, well, we'll just work with it. I guess Y is the jump.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's just, I guess for me, it never really felt like I was in danger playing this game. And it felt like I don't want to say a sandbox, but it just felt like a power fantasy where it was like, because I know back then there was games that were made for rentals. And this felt like this was a game made for rentals where you're like, hey, dude, we're going to go to Blockbusters. We're going to get the little popcorn that you put on the stove. I'm going to rent a fucking movie, and we're going to play this game about this sexy vampire that's there. You want to play? And then you just turn it back. You know what I mean? Because you just go around. You're just killing stuff. You're just doing the do. There isn't really like a real tangible story per se, or like there's not like the standard hero's journey, rising action, all that shit. It's just stuff happening, and then at the end they're just like, okay, Now that's the final boss, and it's like, whoa, there was no payoff for that, no development or nothing like that. So it just felt like it was just something that you would just rent. Like if we played this for like an hour or two, and we're like, yeah, that was fun, I feel like we would have a higher reception about this game than forcing ourselves to beat this in a month.
That actually like makes me think of an idea, and we might have to cut this out, but that'd be kind of interesting if we did like a weekend game or something. Like maybe there's a game we don't want to dedicate like a full ass month to, but it's like, okay, we're just gonna play this game for like the weekend, like 2 days. You have 2 days to try it out, and then on Monday or whatever we reconvene and like talk about like that weekend game, because there are a lot of games where it's like, this is not I want to see it all the way through and write in depth about it, and like there's really nothing here, but you know, we have to stretch ourselves.
And you get it now, especially because you have that like emulator thingy up. Like,
yeah,
how many times have you just booted up a game? Just like I would just be hopping on that joint, hitting random like under the all games, and I'd be like,
yeah,
oh, that looks fun. And then I'll play it for like 20 minutes and be like, not even gonna. That just erased from my mind. I don't give a shit.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of I mean, even indie games. There's a lot that are like that. Obviously, there's a bunch of PS2 that era games where, I mean, there's a lot in my catalog that I'm like, we can't do a BOTR on this, but when am I gonna play this random ass game? You know.
As I turn around and look at fucking Baten Kaitos at the top of my fucking boxes of games, like when am I gonna play Baten Kaitos? When? Like
exactly, yeah. I mean, it's not BOTR. Well, actually, it is a little BOTR, I would say. We could justify it. I mean, we could justify a lot of things. Obviously, it's our podcast. We can do what we want. But we're trying to at least, you know, keep it together, have some integrity.
You know what I mean? Set a standard or something. Like
yeah. Just so that people aren't, you know, because, you know, I do see people be like, oh, that game's BOTR. And I'm like, no, I don't think you're understanding. And I feel like we try to explain it so much. But
I feel like the spirit of BOTR is really like, I don't even want to, because like this is it's stereotyping it, but I really do want to say like the broke kid like anthem of like, I saw that shit. I don't care if it's popular or not. I saw that shit and I was like, never picking that up.
Exactly. Yeah, this is what we're basically reliving our childhood dreams of picking up that game that you would always see, you know, and that's a
when
part
your
of
mom's yelling at you like hurry up and you have like 4 games in your arm like I can only pick one. I'll pick this one. Like those other 3 games, that's what we were trying to play.
Yeah. But I think obviously the long neglected, not respected sort of mantra that we have really does nail it down.
Yeah. I think people hear that and they think of hidden gems. I think that's what it is.
That's true. Because long neglected, not respected.
It gives off the aura of.
When I wrote that, it was with the intention of trying to get away from the hidden gem idea, because it's like games that everybody heard of but nobody played, or games that everybody loved. What is this? This interruption, this blatant root. You need an on air, like, you know, like the studios, the on air, like recording.
Lala, that's your job, bro. But you sitting here on my feet. You supposed to be like, halt.
Yeah.
Who goes there?
Yeah, exactly. There's a recording in session.
His saddle.
But yeah, with BloodRayne, I think that, well, first off, I do want to say that the combat is fine at first. Like it's kind of cool, but it does start to feel gross to me, and I feel like that's where it lost me halfway through, and I was like, fuck. This doesn't really evolve past the tapping square. There was no combos. It's a hack and slash, but there's like no combos.
And it's crazy because you unlock and there's random spots where it's like you now have a level 5 combo or power attack, and I don't know when the fuck I was ever using that. Like I guess my combo string got faster, but I don't know how to use it, what benefits each attack had. There was no rhyme or reason for anything. It was just there to say you unlock something, and I hated that.
Yeah. like after every, I think what mini boss or boss, they would like do a slow mo of you doing like that move, and I'm like, I don't. I looked in the manual. I'm just like, I don't understand how I'm supposed to. Is this just basically now you press square 4 times and you do this move? But I'm like this, and even games at that point had combos. There was in 2002.
There was combos.
Yeah, there was hack and slash games. I can't think of any. I think Kingdom Hearts actually came out 2002, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, that's 2002. And you can't tell me that's not a good ass hack and slash game. You know,
there's a lot of
leveling
games.
System.
This is post Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud had some combos.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, and then another thing that was interesting to me while playing, I don't know if you noticed this, where would you rate the level of sexiness this game sort of sold you on, or not sold you on, but like sells itself on?
As a functioning adult now, but see, it's a different context because like me as an adult now, like as being an adult back in the day and being an adult now, like I'm inundated with like pornography on a daily basis on just everything. You know, you go on Twitter, it's OnlyFans bitches everywhere. You can just do a quick Google search or a Reddit link and you're looking at titties. So like it's a difference from back in the day when my dad was playing this game, when you had to go to the store and get some DVDs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you can't just go on the internet and just Google titties and get titties. You had to earn that. Right. You had to go in the store like a weirdo, like everybody else, and get your shit. So I guess it's a difference, you know.
You make a good point, yeah. How desensitized we are.
Yeah. So like I'm playing the game and I'm like, this is sexy? Like she's moaning while drinking blood, like, okay, I don't give a shit. Like
yeah. Because who would, like, you know?
Right. Or she's just talking seductively or, you know, cockily. I'm just like,
yeah.
Okay, like I don't give a shit. But in the context of 2002, when there isn't an internet and forums and all that bullshit, yeah, it's probably would be sexy.
Let's do a little battle here, a little character versus character. So, and I'm gonna put all these characters up. And you tell me who's sexier of the two, okay? But it's they're all going to be against Rain from this game, okay? And not sexier like who you think is sexy. I mean like who is just more eye candy for like the viewer, I guess, in terms of, I don't know, like a selling point.
Okay.
Okay. So Tomb Raider, or I'm sorry, Lara Croft, Rain.
Lara Croft.
Okay. Kasumi from Dead or Alive.
Kasumi from Dead or
Alive. And you just put me onto this one. Rachel from Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden. Goddamn. I'm sorry.
Listen. Rachel every fucking time, bro. Listen, you don't get it.
Half of the characters, I mean, from Soul Calibur, Ivy. Compare Ivy to fucking
Ivy, come on now. It's Ivy, bro. I put Cassandra over fucking BloodRayne, bro. What's the girl with the ninja girl? What's her name? Talik or whatever? No, that's the staff dude. Talim?
Yeah,
no,
Talim?
that's the
Talim?
Talim? Yeah, I picked Talim over fucking.
Yeah. Oh, Takumi, I think, or something like that.
Takumi, yeah. I don't know. We probably butchering this shit.
Some Dead or Alive fans, like, or Soul Calibur fan, is just like screaming into their mic. I fucking hate these niggas.
This is it, bro. I'm unsubscribing,
bro. Yeah, so I just gave you 3-4 characters. Like, they're all relatively in that era. I'm trying to think of more.
It's funny because there's actually another vampire game that came out around this time, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Every single female vampire in that game is
sexier.
way sexier, and like they look more vampire. Like there's some that are like ill, gross, like Nosferatu looking bitches, and like
Right.
even them, they look better than BloodRayne. I don't even want to say look better because like I don't want red pill people to come on here and be like, you know how they're doing now with like female video game characters where like the girl from Fable she has a chin. The dwarf from Dragon Age has an Adam's apple. Like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do all that. I'm just saying from a character specifically made and focus tested to be sexy.
Yeah.
She's not sexy.
It's very, very tame. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, she has a Playboy
aside
shoot,
from the cleavage. What?
She has a Playboy shoot, so I mean.
But that's not like it's not like an unlockable in the game.
Yeah, there's nothing in game that she does that's like inherently sexy, other than moaning in your ear randomly.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you could maybe consider the way like. So there's a blood sucking mechanic to replenish your health. It's one button, and you can pretty much suck the blood of any character. She'll get on top of them if they're on the floor, in a pose that could be construed as sexual, but it's just not enough. Right. But on that topic, though, I do want to say one of my favorite things about the game was the way they did the blood-sucking mechanic. I thought it was cool. Them, like her, like, you know, getting close and the camera pans in and you see, like, them, like, fucking suffering and all that. It feels very of the PS2 era, but I think it was really cool. I mean, it got old after a while, but
yeah.
What'd you think about it?
I like that because you get to see like the different interactions and them being like, "Hold on, and like,
yeah, hold on.
I love that.
Wait,
no, stop! The German soldiers. I thought that was really cool. I really liked that setting. I like the way that the camera like zoomed in and then you can slowly pan to use them as a bullet shield. I thought that was a really cool mechanic.
Yeah.
And
the camera's really far. I want to say, like, what is up with that?
The camera's too far, but I guess it has to be far because of how insane your jumping prowess, agility, I guess, is.
Yeah.
Like, you can jump, like, 2 stories easily and, like, 1 leap. Jump, you can glide, you can do all this crazy stuff. So it makes sense that, like, the camera's a little far back so you can see what the fuck is going on. And I think also... this is before like third person over the shoulder was like a thing. I don't even think that was like invented yet. So I think that like people were just like, you know, like we were saying before the standardization. So everybody was just doing whatever the fuck.
I think a remake of this, like I say this every fucking time, but I do think some of these ideas would be better served in a like a modern retelling of it. Because I mean, she's cool with like her blade things, and like when you're like hit an enemy and there is like the severed limb system or whatever where their limbs go flying. It's pretty cool. Like, you know, it's something that you always wish like lightsabers did, you know, in Star Wars games. Like when you hit things, you always kind of wish they would just fucking fall and
dismember.
Yeah, but yeah. The dismemberment mechanic is pretty sweet, and I feel like it'd be cool to see that with like a better action system, you know.
Yeah,
make it a Warriors game. Make BloodRayne Warriors. You know,
BloodRayne Muso.
BloodRayne Heroes.
I'm not gonna lie to you though. I do feel like BloodRayne, and I think maybe they did attempt to do that because there is that third BloodRayne game that's like a Metroidvania, like the 2D one. I think maybe they were like, let's try putting her in some different shoes and seeing how it fits. But I do get what you're saying. Like maybe making it a little bit more grounded. Maybe taking some Souls-like flair. Like BloodRayne seems like the game that if it got a remake, it would definitely have like a R1, R1, R2 to attack as. Like it would play like Stellar Blade. But BloodRayne, like that would be the game, and I can see that appealing to the general masses of gamers more than what we got here. And not to say that what we got here, I am saying what we got here did suck. But like that's just because it's of the time. Like you're playing this and you're like, wow. It's not even like a wow, this game sucks. It's more like a I expected more for
Yes.
the pedigree that this game got
Exactly. Yeah.
after release. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I had high expectations of it because it got that remake or the remaster, the
Right.
revamped, or I know there's like a terminal cut and there's like a revamped cut or whatever.
They're the
But-
same thing. They just re-released it twice.
Okay. I think one's for probably consoles or whatever. But
yeah, and one's for PC.
I think going in, and obviously that's what's hard because we don't just play BOTR games. We're playing the new modern games. You kind of hope that these older games are gonna have a good, like a satisfying gameplay loop, and this game specifically doesn't have one. But that's probably because at the time they didn't really have the wherewithal to judge what a good gameplay loop would be, because all it is just pressing square, running around, hunting for like just hunting for these officers, and that's pretty much it. Like you're never doing any puzzles, anything that's any more complex than breaking a wall. You're never learning any new moves, not getting any new gear. You get different guns, but they all feel the same. It doesn't really matter. So it all ends up sort of feeling like there's no a good sense of progression. There's no, like, it's just like it lives and dies by the fact that it's a hot chick that is is OP essentially. I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah, your arsenal never changes from the time that you start the game until the time that you finish the game. And for a game that's rather long, I think it overstays its welcome a little too much.
Yeah.
And the formula doesn't change. Because, I mean, at least with the first mission. So the first mission, you're in Louisiana and you're in like the bio and you can't touch water and these weird crab monsters and these like mutated zombie people that you have to fight, which is cool. And there isn't really a structure to it. It's just like destroy these little hives and then fight the giant monster at the end.
Yeah.
Then you start the second mission and you're in this Nazi base and they give you a list of people to kill and you're going through this base and you're killing all the people, which was a really cool like change of pace compared to the first mission. Yeah. But then you realize, oh, you have to kill everybody on this list. And it's like 25 people on this list. And it's like, oh, I thought I was only going to have to kill like 5 or 7 of them. Yeah. And then they would be like, oh, switch it up. Go do something else, next mission. So you're going through this level, and it is a labyrinthian, long, tedious level because they're all the same essential person. Yeah, they're all boring. They all just die the same way. It's just finding them. And then you finish all that, you get this really cool level where you're like underground and you're fighting like these weird crab like head things or whatever. And that was really cool.
The parasites, yeah.
Yeah, and then you hop out of that, and then you go to another German base, and you do it all over again.
Yeah. The castle?
You go to the castle, and you do it again. And then you do an entire list again of like 25 people, and then you fight a final boss, and then that's it. Like, that's not fun. The first time was okay. But the third mission, it's like, you're padding now. Yeah.
And then like we mentioned, there's really nothing to it. Like the game is, dude. I feel like I haven't fallen asleep playing a game in a while.
Okay, it wasn't just me. Okay, I'm just making sure.
I was like, I'm usually, I don't know, I feel like it's pretty rare for me to, like, unless I'm like really tired, but this game, I was like fine. I'd be like, cool, like I'm ready to sit down, play for like 2-3 hours right now, I'd be like 40 minutes in and I'm just like, oh shit, I'm like, this is so boring. There's no challenge, there's nothing new. And I know I sound like a fucking dopamine fucking looking for that next serotonin hit with like an unlockable or something, but really gameplay wise, games even at that point had a bit of a challenge, had something to make you want to progress. Interesting levels. The levels here are really boring, except for Louisiana. I thought that was kind of fun and interesting and new. The fucking you're in the Nazi base for way too long, and it's just gray walls and chambers, and it's just so boring. You're essentially just going deeper and deeper. Then you get to the hive, which you were like describing, and it's like an alien landscape. Like it's confusing to navigate.
It looks like
not fun.
the final levels of Half-Life, bro. It is weird.
Yeah. And it is unfortunate because the combat, I think, if it was tweaked a little bit, it could have felt a lot better. And I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of someone back then that was like, this game rocks. It's badass. You're more badass than Blade and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, I was reading some reviews that were really praising, how cool it was. I'm just like, I guess it's novel. Maybe it was just so novel that's what it sold the whole experience. The novelty of it.
Maybe, possibly. I think that might be the case. Because, I mean, but see, as I look up the year of 2002 in video games, and I look at everything that came out that year, like you said, Kingdom Hearts, you had Wind Waker, you had Sly Cooper, SOCOM, Splinter Cell, Metroid Prime.
They're games that were doing something for it.
Because I think the issue with the game mostly is pacing and actually telling a good narrative. Those are the two things. Because presentation wise, I feel like it's okay, especially for 2002 standards. I feel like it was probably above average for most games.
Like you're talking about the graphics and how it looks. Because I feel like
graphically, the way that the UI was, like the UI is kind of ass, but for 2002, it was stylized enough to where it looked nice. And I feel like for the time, like I'm trying to think of an equivalent of a game now. This game is like Days Gone.
That's
but
so
for
wild.
early
I
2000s.
You knew. I was like, he's gonna say Days Gone or something. I don't know why, but go on. I want to hear why you're saying that.
Because Days Gone was a game that was reviewed well, technically sold well, but like it's bland. You know what I mean? It looks good. The UI is good. The gameplay is good. It won some awards. It got some notoriety. People were talking about it. But then, like, you separate that from the time that it was released, and you give it like if we go 20 years in the future, like we're doing right now with BloodRayne, to play Days Gone, we would be saying the same thing about Days Gone and be like, what the fuck did people like about this shit? You know?
Yeah.
But that's not to say that at the time people didn't like it. You know what I mean? I guess, it just needed to. For me, what it was that I never felt compelled to really understand who Rain was, why she was going and doing everything. Like, everything just kind of felt like it was just thrown at you. Like, ooh, you're Rain. Oof, now you're doing this. Oof, now you're doing this. Oof, now you're doing this. And it's like, but why? What is this world? Yeah. What is this society? What are you crafting here? There's a sequel. There's 2 of them. There's 3 fucking movies. Obviously, there's a lot of lore here, but I feel like I got 0 out of this game. There's no lore books to pick up. There's no random collectibles or anything. Like, it's just...
No YouTube lore videos. The lore of BloodRayne.
It's just fucking game, which I don't mind because, this is back in the day when games were games, Yeah. You got Ratchet and Clank releasing the same year. But, like... Yeah. Even Ratchet and Clank was a game-ass game, but it told a compelling narrative from start to finish.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it was one of those things where the way that this game sort of carved its place in the market was selling itself as a bloody and sexy game. Because out of all those games that we've listed, this is the only one that has this aesthetic.
Yes.
And that's enough in a market to like target males from the age of fucking 17 to 34, and be like, this isn't Kingdom Hearts, this isn't fucking Wind Waker, like this is what did that Playboy magazine say? Games Grown Up or something like that?
Yeah.
Like,
this is
yeah.
gamers grown up.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess there was a market for it in some sense, because there are people that like, look, this is like a little kid game. I'm about to play Wind Waker. I'm not about to play Kingdom Hearts. I know a lot of people in their in their late teens that didn't want to pick up a game like Kingdom Hearts because it's like, this is a Disney game with like weird Japanese characters, like
Right. There
like
is
your dad wasn't gonna pick up Kingdom Hearts,
Yeah.
He
There is
picked
like
up
a weird
BloodRayne.
subset of people that are like, I'm not playing that. That's kiddie. Like if I was to like even Dark Souls. Like if I was to like offer some nigga like, hey bro, you like Far Cry 3? You should play Dark Souls. They'll look at me like, if you don't get the fuck out of my face, like, there's just people that just refuse to dive into anything if it's not mature or gritty or
Yeah.
dealing with
Although Dark
something
Souls
other
is
than
pretty gritty looking, I would say.
Yeah, but I mean it's got a sword, so I mean it's a difference.
Oh, because it's fantasy. Yeah. Fantasies, they're niggas.
He doesn't have a gun. Now, if Dark Souls had a gun, ooh,
yeah,
they ain't fuck with it.
Yeah, a shooter Souls like or something, which there is, right? Isn't that Revenant?
Yeah, Remnant.
Remnant 2. Yeah,
they ain't even play that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but there's a lot of casual people that are like that, so it's actually really interesting. I think it's evolved more now. I was just telling Elise that this is a new generation of gamers who have grown up with gaming and have really gone through some of the most biggest changes in the industry, and like both technology wise and the way games are consumed and what games can be. Like, we're that generation, because like people 5 or 10 years younger than us, all they know is like the good shit. Like they don't know, they didn't go through the trenches like us.
That's true.
All they know
is
like
is
super
PS3
polished.
Damn.
So like
that's real.
Yeah, it's like it's a really big deal, and our generation, I'm trying to think of where like the line stops, because you're 5 years younger than me, and I think that
it's definitely like 5 years.
It stops with
after
you.
Me.
Okay.
It's definitely like about like 5 years ago. I want to say like, okay, yeah, because 2024, 2000s kids are 24 years old. So I would definitely say like maybe like.
Well, yeah, because they could be born in 2000s, but when they became mature enough, it'd be like 2007, let's say.
Yeah, it'd be like 2006, so it'd be like 360 era.
Yeah. Which is like,
so it is like 3 or 4 years right after me, where it's like, damn, because I'm 97, and by the time that I like was playing games was like 2000, and by that time I played the Super Nintendo, I played the Dreamcast, I played the Nintendo 64. Like I played that crazy leap in between, and then you get the leap from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation like 3.
Yeah,
that was a huge leap. Like I remember my like parents buying a HD TV, and then hooking that up with the 360, going from like playing on like a CRT with 360 to playing on a HD TV with his 360. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
like we saw it all. The internet, there's a lot of stuff that like we take for granted, that like the technological leaps of the last 20 years, not even in terms of like just gaming, but just life in general is just insane, that we'll never see that again. Like we say that now, like, oh, we'll never see that again. And in 20 years, we'll be like, that was some crazy leap. But like, nah, I really think we ain't never seeing no crazy leap like that again in terms of technology.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, I don't know. It's really interesting to think about, but it is a really interesting sort of position that I think you and me and a lot of people find themselves in, because the more mainstream people, I guess just like more the normies,
the cash,
they're not going to be caring about playing games from PS2 or specific genres. Like they are just playing Fortnite. They're looping Fortnite and fucking maybe Pal World, maybe. They're fucking just playing like the same couple of games.
I did see
not really exposing themselves.
That 1/3 of everybody of the players was still on PlayStation 4 are only playing Fortnite.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Insane. But what was I about to say? Because you were saying it, you were speaking about this. Cause to derail from BloodRayne, since you have been playing Silent Hill 2 remake and you have played the original Silent Hill 2, as somebody that has only played Silent Hill 1 recently, how do you feel about remake culture? As we talk about casuals, as we talk about kids that didn't as we talk about the youngins that didn't grow up with this shit, you know, I've come to an understanding that us two, and a lot of people that dig deeper into video games, you know, all the niggas, shout out my backlog niggas, you know, all the people that go into forums and Reddits. There is a distinct split between those people that treat video games as an art form and those that treat video games as just a board game or a means of entertainment, you know, just I went to Dave and Buster's. They don't think of it as
like a consumable,
Yeah, they don't think of it as the art design, the UI, how it made you feel, the narrative art. Like, they don't think about all of those elements and how it crafted an experience for them. They just think about, oh yeah, I got a legendary greatsword +5 with +10% attack speed on it. They don't think that far ahead. And as Silent Hill 2, I told you I didn't want to play it because I wanted to experience the original Silent Hill 2 before I played the remake, because I'd be afraid that it would jade my experience playing it. And I've seen a lot of people say that, like, this is the definitive version of Silent Hill 2, and I don't agree with that, because I feel like it diminishes the original and what it set out to establish. And I feel like people saying that a remake, because I'm a proponent of Resident Evil 4 remake is ass, and I feel like there's like no, I don't like it, and I feel like there's a proponent of like people that are just like, this remake came out because this thing is outdated and this is the updated version and therefore it's better, when those are two different forms of like Silent Hill 2 and now Silent Hill 2 remake. That's two different experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Firstly, I think remakes are really fascinating in games because in movies they don't really work to the same degree. And like, you know, like it makes sense to make a remake because of, you know, brand recognition. You know, you already have a built-in audience, and you can maybe update some of the technology that was used and all that. But remakes in movies aren't always typically received well, and most of the time they're looked down upon. With games, it's interesting because I have a more positive attitude towards remakes because, one, a lot of them don't really diminish the original for me, you know, because a lot of them are so different than, like, you know, Resident Evil, right? Resident Evil 2. Yeah. I didn't play the original Resident Evil 2 before I played the remake. Loved the remake, and I went back and played, you know, the classic Resident Evil, and loved them both, and they're just so different. You know, because one's using modern technology, different camera perspective and all this, you know, higher budget. And the other one is, you know, the first of its kind to sort of do what it did. And it has its own unique charm to it. Like, it's hard to say one is more definitive than the other. I don't agree with this, like, idea that one is definitive unless it was like a remaster of the original. Kind of like Resident Evil, the original, where you play as Jill, right? And it got remade for the GameCube, and it's like...
But see, even that is like a completely different experience because...
Right, yeah.
There's a whole new section of the game added, and like puzzles are revamped for like people like me that have played Resident Evil 1 so many times, where it's like, oh no, I got you, I'm going to stump you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they've moved things around, right?
Yeah, so like...
Yeah, that's what... Yeah.
That's
what they did with Silent Hill 2 as well, where they... And I don't really... It frustrates me a little bit because it just feels like, let's just change things just to keep people on their toes. you know. And some of
Yeah.
it messes up with the pacing a little bit. And I'm just like, what? Why would you put this here? Like, it doesn't make sense to put it here now. Like, you're just doing that just because you want it to be different. You know, like, it feels a little like, I don't know, it just feels like annoying. Like, let's just move it just because we don't want it. Like, we don't want players to be surprised by it. But it's like, well, it's the same puzzle. You just fucking moved it over here, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that with the modern Silent Hill 2, I can see a lot of the modern day conveniences almost. But I think they all work. The one thing I think that is going against it is definitely the amount of action that was injected into it. Silent Hill 2 was new to sort of shy away from action because it didn't have a great combat system like the original. You know, you're hitting things with a fucking pipe. It's a clunky. The aiming's weird. You don't, have a lot of bullets. It's like quintessential survival horror. It's not like
Right.
now Resident Evil leans into it more because of the zombies and the nature of how many there are. But with Silent Hill 2, like the original, it's like the enemies are few and far between. There's really only about 6 or 7 enemy types to begin with. And the new one, just for some reason, ratchets that up and made it more Resident Evil like, where it's like you're fighting the same monsters constantly. Like it feels a little. I'm almost to the point where it's too much, but I'm only halfway through, so I can't really say yet. But it's definitely more action heavy, and it starts to feel noticeable. Like they were afraid that people would be bored just soaking in the environment, walking around. Maybe fighting, 1 or 2 enemies every 30 minutes or something. But you're fighting enemies like every 5-10 minutes, it feels like.
Yeah.
And
There's no
I feel
incentive
like
to run away. Because I know in
no,
Silent Hill
there's
1, when you're in like the overworld, there's always like a lot of monsters and stuff like that. But like you're not, if you fight everything, you won't have ammo. You're gonna be low on health. You're gonna waste health items and stuff like that. So like you're taught to run away very quickly if you want to succeed in Silent Hill 1. So it is interesting because that's how I felt about playing the Resident Evil 4 demo, and that's I think why I never picked up the Resident Evil 4 remake. I think that's why I never picked it up, because playing the demo and playing through that first like town, there's just certain like things that just felt off about it compared to like it felt way more like they give, and I feel like that from what I've seen from Silent Hill 2, they give you more tools to tackle anything that comes in your way without retooling the enemies to compensate for those new tools that you have. So you just feel like a juggernaut running through everything, and it deflates a little bit of that. I don't want to say aura. What am I talking for? Atmosphere.
Yeah. I don't think Silent Hill 2, the remake, isn't. There's still tension. You don't really get any new weapons. You don't get any upgrades or anything like that. Well, I mean, technically, you do get an upgrade from like your wooden stick to a fucking pipe.
Yeah.
It's just too many enemies, and it feels a bit much. It feels too action heavy at times. Like there's like once it goes to the other world, and everything's like rusted and, blood soaked and all that. There's a lot of encounters where I wish that there was a stealth option, and there doesn't feel like there is. It feels like you'd have to fucking fight everything. And the original didn't feel like that by any means. You couldn't like escape everything and not do combat at all, but there were a lot of sections where you could just like run past or, not even worry, or they wouldn't fucking take away half your. I think the way they compensated was they made them a lot stronger, so you die a lot easier.
Right.
Which is annoying because it's just like I have to fucking fight this thing and I'm gonna get fucking hit. What's actually also interesting too is that the way that this game plays feels very familiar to Silent Hill Downpour and Silent Hill Homecoming, which is kind of crazy because those games were critically panned for the amount of action that they are in them. But if you go watch like gameplay of Silent Hill Downpour, or Silent Hill Homecoming, Homecoming specifically. I swear it's like 1-for-1 with how the dodging you have dodging in
Yeah,
Silent Hill. Like it feels you're fucking like you're fighting a pair of legs. You know the
you're
legs
hitting
that have,
iframes and shit.
yeah, it's ridiculous. But that's what modern audiences need. It makes
Yeah.
sense. I think it's still a great game. You know, maybe my game of the year. It's fun to see what they've switched and what they've added. They've added a lot. But overall, I mean, you've played Persona 3, the original. You know, was the remake just like, okay, why did they fucking do this? Like, what's that like? You know, for you with that, with
You
something
know,
like that.
that's a very, because I was thinking about this in the back of my head the whole time, where I was like, I should use fucking Persona 3 as I play Metaphor right now. I feel like you said, Persona 3 Reload is a completely different experience. And I have heard people, now, especially now that they have the answer, be like, this is the definitive.
Yeah, oh God.
Yeah. But I mean, and then some people like argue and be like, no, because it doesn't have female protagonists or whatever. And it's like, that, nobody cares about the female protagonist. Like, oh, you wanted to romance Junpei, I guess. Nobody fucking cares. But
Right.
I feel like, and that's why I played through Persona 3 Reload with the auto battle for my party members, like, or I didn't control them, is because I felt like a lot of the main experience of Persona 3 was the fact that you could not control your characters. And then once they give you third G skills, I like pretty much had to play as those characters. I had to turn off like that auto control and use them myself, because it made the game incredibly easy. And I felt like adding that on top of the Persona 5 isms of like the network system, so you can cheat and see like, oh, there's a social link ready here, or, you know, there's so many quality of life changes from Persona 5 that are added retroactively to Persona 3 that I feel like take away a lot of the experience of Persona 3. Persona 3 is an experience of, I mean, yeah, you could min-max it, and there was guides back in the day of like, on this day, you need to do this, and then you need to do this. But some of the fun of your first time playing Persona 3 was just going through and being and just fucking up. Oh, I hung out with the guy and he didn't upgrade his social link today, but I just hung out with him. That's the homie.
Something that is interesting too is like when people are saying like it's the definitive version, it's like, I don't know. I think it's so cool that we have like Final Fantasy VII, right?
Yeah,
like it's
that's
cool
another perfect example.
I can go back to the original, play that, and enjoy it in such a different way. The same with Silent Hill 2. Like if someone was like, which one should I play first? I'd be like, dude, play both of them, because they really feel like a companion piece. It's like so cool to play one that was 25 years old and the new one, and just to like see the differences. You know, they feel different. You know, I think something that's really changed in the new one is a lot of the voice acting gives a different tone or a meaning to some of the relationships than the first one had. So I'm kind of curious where that goes. And I don't know, I think with, you know, obviously JRPGs like Final Fantasy and Persona, that's 2 fucking 80-hour games that you got to play, you know, so that kind of sucks. But I think they can live next to each other. Like they can live side by side. And one's not definitive or even better than one another. I think it shouldn't be replacing it. It shouldn't be like, oh, we don't want niggas to play Silent Hill 2, the original. Like, here's fucking Silent Hill 2 remake. It's like, no, like they should be companion pieces, I think.
Which is funny, because we bring this up about JRPG specifically, because I was looking to get into the East series.
Yeah.
And because I really enjoyed Xanadu decks, and everybody keeps telling me like, oh, if you like Xanadu, you're gonna love East. Like, East is the shit. So I was looking up like what to do, what's the play order of the East games, And I didn't realize that like they go back to like early like Turbo Graphics PC Engine like NES ass games, and people are like, don't play them shits. Play the PSP versions. Play the remakes on PS4 and all that shit. Don't play those. Those are ass.
Yeah.
Don't even touch those. Play those if you want to go back. If you're like, I love East and everything East, go back and play that shit. But if not, if you're trying to start, go play the PSP version. And like, I felt like that's weird because in my head, I'm like, because speaking of this, I played the Pixel remasters of Final Fantasy 1 and 2, and I felt like I didn't get a really good experience of playing Final Fantasy 1 and 2 because I had this map that told me where every map was. I mean, where every chest was. I had, you know, like everything was built up. If I was ever getting tired of like getting encounters, or if I was about to die, I could just press the right stick in and turn encounters off real quick and be like, oh fuck, oh, save me some time so I don't gotta relog. I could save anywhere. Like if I wanted to grind, I can change the EXP rates and grind faster so I can get back to the original game. Like there's so many weird things that you can do that it's like, but I felt like that was kind of the experience, was to just live in the world and be like, all right, we need to go fight. I need to go out in this world and hunt some shit so I can level up. Instead of me just being overpowered for like half the game and then being like, oh shit, I overleveled. You know?
Yeah. No, yeah, it's really tricky because we talk about things, especially on Back of the Rack, we talk about a lot of games that are tough, that are unbearable, you know, that are almost great, that are, you know, all these things. And if we had the ability to just be like, well, let me just take out this section, let me just add this, let me just do all these like tweaks, then the game would be perfect. And then it's like, well, it's not that experience anymore. Right?
Exactly.
Then it's not Dragon Quarter, you know, Breath of Fire. It's, you know, like there's so many things like I wish you could do this and that, and just, you know, and that would make it the experience that I would, you know. But it's kind of just shakes out to being like, well, there's some experiences that aren't for you because they don't have all the things you might need for it to be a good experience. Whether it's now, objectively speaking, whether it's a good or bad experience is a separate thing, but it's like how you experience it, you know, and the level of tolerance you have for how difficult things are. But also introducing those God mode type fucking settings, it does change the experience entirely. And sure, you might like it more, but a lot of other Final Fantasy 1 players might be like, I guess you played it. I don't think you really played it. I mean, you didn't play it the way they intended to. You were fucking, you know, all the cheats essentially were enabled. So, but I don't know. It's hard. It's like Final Fantasy 12. Think about how you.
Bro, we played it with the fast forward. So I can't even. I think that's the most daunting part about being like, I'm gonna play the original Final Fantasy 12. Is like, there's no fast forward.
Yeah. That's like an easy 150-hour game now, all of a sudden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or even like another funny experience is like somebody playing, I don't even want to say that, but like it's like somebody playing like a shoot 'em up. Yeah. And every time they die, they just press continue and, you know, just go into the end, and then they just play that one time and be like, yeah, I experienced that game. It was all right. It's like, no, you did not experience that game. Like, you didn't do it in one credit. You didn't see the true last boss. You didn't learn the mechanics or figure out, like, the routing to get a good high score. Like, there's levels. Yeah. Same thing with, like, Devil May Cry, where it's like, if you play it on easy and you're like, yeah, I beat Devil May Cry. It's like, did you play Devil May Cry? Or nah, bro, like...
Yeah. There's a level of gatekeeping. Because, I mean, I'm a huge Silent Hill fan. I've played almost all of them except for Silent Hill Book of Memories, which is a funny little callback here, but the developer of BloodRayne developed Silent Hill Book of Memories. What's the developer's name?
Terminal Reality?
Terminal Reality, yeah. But anyways, I played them all. I hold them very near and dear, a lot of them, even though some of them suck, and it's a mixed bag overall. So when people play Silent Hill 2 and they're like, the remake. When they play the remake, and it's like, oh, it's so scary, and I love it. I'm like, nigga, Silent Hill 2's been scary. Where you at? Like, did you play the original though? Like, you get into like gatekeeper mode,
Yeah.
where it's like people are like, oh, like, yeah. And I know like people with Final Fantasy were like this too, where it's like, everybody hopped on when it was like what the remake, and people are like, yeah, but did you play the original? And you're like, nah. Oh, you gotta play the original, to really appreciate it. And you're like, I'm not about to go back and play that PS1
I'm
game.
not gonna lie, because that's exactly how I feel with the inevitable Resident Evil 5 remake that's about to come out. Like, I feel like I'm gonna be.
They have to do Code Veronica first.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm gonna be like so sick from like people being like, oh, look, this is so much better, bro, especially because they took out the racist shit. And I'm like, but that racist shit was needed. You don't understand.
It was part of the story.
It was needed.
Yeah.
Just like Resident Evil 6. When Resident Evil 6 gets remade and they change nothing with the combat and people are like, wow, this game is amazing. You know what?
Yeah.
That's why Resident Evil 4 remake pissed me off so much. It's because the combat was exactly like Resident Evil 6 and people were like, this is so amazing. I love it. And I was like, you bitch ass niggas. I've been saying this.
Yeah.
I've been saying this. And now it's in Resident Evil 4 and magically it's fucking amazing. But in Resident Evil 6, you bitches said it was bad. Yeah,
no, that's how I feel about the comparison I just made with Silent Hill Homecoming and Silent Hill Downpour. Where I'm like, this combat, this whole style of Silent Hill.
Because even that one was an over-the-shoulder camera, right?
Both those that I just mentioned are over the shoulder. Same thing. It's not new. As a matter of fact, it's really, really close to those games. And when I saw that, you're dodging and shit, or not saw, played it, and I'm just like, this is basically what those games did, and people fucking hated those games. So, I don't know, man. People be switching up, and
they be switching up.
I don't know. I don't like it.
But speaking of switching up, man, let's talk about video game movies.
Okay.
Man, what is your opinion on video game movies? Because I feel like we've said this. We want to watch the BloodRayne movies. We want to do like a special episode where we just like mystery theater like through the BloodRayne movie.
Well, video game movies are hard to do because video games have a lot. Okay, so I think a great example is Until Dawn has a movie coming out, right? Until Dawn is good as a game because it's a generic movie plot, but you are in control as a gamer for the fates of all the characters in that game.
Right.
It's basically like all the tropes and cliches, but now you get to be in control. That's the selling point. That's what makes it so cool.
That's the reason why that game sold so much.
Reverting it back to movie form doesn't make any sense unless you're going to be like, oh, like the movie has a character that can change like the fates of people or some weird mechanic or something.
Or if like they have a bunch of different screenings of the movie and then when everybody goes on Twitter, they're like, oh, I can't believe Jason died. Yeah. And they're like, wait, Jason didn't die when I watched the movie. That's the only way they can make that movie like actually work is if there's like 17 different versions of the movie out there or something like that.
Exactly. And I feel like video games are a medium that is really difficult to adapt. And I think even like The Last of Us, what made The Last of Us so great was all the banter and stuff you're doing while you're walking around exploring with Ellie. That's like 8 hours, 10 hours worth of content, dialogue. Trying to fit that into The Last of Us, and they did it in a fucking show, a series, and it still didn't work. I'm just like, this is still not like,
yeah.
You guys now it just feels like it's not right.
Yeah, I feel like the reason why The Last of Us didn't really work was because while I do like that they expanded the lore of the overall like world and everything like that, and they showed off different stories, I feel like in order for Last of Us to work, after season 1 ended, like season 2, instead of it going straight into Last of Us Part 2, there should be like a season 2 and 3, maybe even 4 of just like miscellaneous shit between like Ellie and Joel.
Exactly.
And
I think that's the way to do a video game movie is to add to it. Make it like this is what happens after, you know, Ratchet and Clank. Like, don't retell the story.
Don't just retell Ratchet and Clank 1.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think of
worse.
other video game movies. Well, I mean, obviously Silent Hill has, and Resident Evil has its own successful ass.
You don't remember the Assassin's
movies.
Creed movie with Michael Fassbender?
I didn't watch that. I was like, this already looks like a poor
Or
adaptation.
Warcraft with Paula Patton?
I actually wanted to see that, but I didn't. I think I saw like the beginning.
Or Rampage with The Rock?
I saw Rampage.
That one was
Rampage.
horrible. I did watch
like,
that one. Yeah. I forgot there was a Monster Hunter movie. I completely forgot that there was a
with Mila, with the Resident Evil chick,
yeah. There's so many Resident Evil movies, and I think that like is what makes BloodRayne so much more funny. Is because I feel like BloodRayne was a spoof of those Resident Evil movies.
Yeah.
What was the first Resident Evil movie? Oh, like 2 months. It was like 2 months before BloodRayne came out.
Oh wow, was it?
When did BloodRayne 1 come out?
Everybody was sipping the same juice back then. It felt like there was like we're all on the same page about the feel and look of things.
Yeah, okay. BloodRayne came out Halloween 2002, and Resident Evil, the first movie, came out March 15th of 2002. Insane.
Wow, that is wild.
Insane.
See, what makes Resident Evil successful is its departure. See, fans of you are caught into a trap with movie adaptations, right? Fans want a fucking like 1-to-1 recreation on the screen. Impossible. But for it to be successful, it needs to really do its own thing or elevate the whole thing, you know? Like kind of
That's why the first Mortal Kombat movie was so good.
Right.
But you know, it's funny because speaking of Resident Evil, I've always felt, because people always say this, like, yes, it birthed the genre of survival horror, but I never felt like Resident Evil was scary, per se. You know? I always felt like a B-list action movie, like survival, like a B-list horror action movie. You know what I mean? And that's the aesthetic that it brought, and that's the aesthetic that the movies brought. And I feel like a lot of fans kind of that went over their heads that like the inspiration for the game is what the movie is, and like, because people rag on those movies, and I feel like they're not even really that bad, to be honest with you.
To be honest with you, I haven't seen a single one of those movies.
You haven't seen a single one of them?
No.
You should watch the latest one, because it's like it's like a kind of sort of like
soft reboot or something.
Yeah, and it's like about Resident Evil. It's like a split between like Resident Evil 1 and 2, like a retelling of like both of those.
Isn't there a Netflix one too?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember. Yeah, that came out, and yeah, it's just. I think when people say that Resident Evil birthed the survival horror genre, I think it mainly is not from how scary it is, but from its mechanics and visual style, you know. And obviously Silent Hill was also there to sort of pave the way with them. But yeah, what's another video game movie? Oh, Borderlands?
That just came out. Sonic just got 3 of them. Mario got one. I did watch the Uncharted movie.
Oh, I forgot the Uncharted movie, yeah.
Honestly, I thought Tom Holland did a really good job. But
you liked it?
I thought Tom Holland did a good job. But the movie was ass. But I thought he did it. He tried. With all he could do, you know, he stuck in the Sony minds. With what he was given, I felt like he did a pretty good job. There's a Five Nights at Freddy's movie that
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Was it good?
And it's actually solid.
It's solid?
Like it's not like, again, you want it to be something, you go in wanting it to be like the game, and it's kinda. Dude, Five Nights at Freddy has weird ass lore, so they're using a lot of that. So I'm just like, I guess if you're really into the lore, it makes sense, but
yeah, like if you really dive into Five Nights at Freddy's, it's like, oh, this shit. I remember watching like Matt Pat and all them videos, and I would be like, oh, this shit is crazy. I'm never playing the games, but this shit is crazy.
It's really, really strange, and they get into some of that lore, which I don't know. It's kind of like, ugh.
I thought the last Mortal Kombat was pretty good. Same with the last like what was that? Pikachu, the Pikachu movie?
Nigga, that movie was terrible.
Minus Ryan Reynolds.
The Detective Pikachu, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think for me, what it was is just seeing like all the Pokemon and like real life. I think that's really all it was that I was like, oh look, it's my nigga Exploud in the back doing some stereos.
Exploud. Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was cool to see certain Pokemon live, but the movie itself was
pretty
bad.
I do know that
I didn't see Mortal Kombat. Yeah, there's a couple of those, aren't there? There's like 2 or 3 different like remakes, like adaptations. I swear, no.
Maybe
the Silent Hill movie is actually pretty good. The first one, like, it does its own thing and it combines different elements from the games, and it's actually a very, very, very solid movie. I think one of the best, honestly. Like, the second one, Silent Hill Revelation, that movie's awful. That's probably one of the worst video game adaptations.
Not even like the second Lara Croft movie.
The Cradle of Life.
Yeah, it's worse than that.
I haven't seen those in a while. I can't remember how bad they were. But honestly, I'm not familiar with like the games enough to like know. I'm like, is this a good adaptation? I don't know.
Me neither. I don't know.
Like, the movie, it's weird because Lara Croft is already so inspired by Indiana Jones, just like Uncharted. So I'm just like, I guess this is fine. I don't know if it's bad or not.
You know what we need to do? We need to make a little sub-series. We need to make a sub-series where we go on a quest to find the best video game movie, and we just watch them in like release order for every video game movie and just be like, was it good?
I think the consensus for sure is that majority of them are bad. And only recently, like in the last like 5 years, have we been getting good ones, like Super Mario Brothers, and what else came? The Last of Us series. Twisted Metal, that was well received. That show was Fallout 4 or whatever, Fallout the series.
You know what's crazy?
Like,
I'm going through this list, and like the highest Metacritic score is Mortal Kombat with a 60 out of all video game movies on Wikipedia.
That's crazy.
And then the highest with a Rotten Tomato is Sonic 2 with 69%. So they're still ass, but
yes.
The Tekken movie has a 0 on Rotten Tomato.
It's kind of wild. Wait, hold up.
Insane.
Sonic 2 is weird. You should have you not seen those movies?
I've seen them. I don't.
Okay, I was gonna say Sonic 2. Yeah,
I'm still excited for Sonic 3 though, but I don't like them.
Yeah, he's the guy who voices Sonic is so annoying.
I hate his voice. I think that's the main reason why I hate the Sonic movies, is because he doesn't sound cocky. Like, he sounds like a bitch, and Sonic.
He sounds annoying. He sounds like a weasel, like a fucking, like he'd be like, he should be doing Tails' voice, I think.
Yeah, like, I gotta find my purpose. No, you don't, nigga. Run around.
Run, yeah.
You're Sonic. Just do whatever you want, bruh.
What's a yeah, that's all I can really think of movie wise.
But I'm gonna tell you, I'm about to put you on some deep lore, bro. I was telling you before we started recording, but this nigga Uwe Ball, bro, is a menace when it comes to these movies, these video game movies, bro.
He did it for the culture. What's his name?
He's in it for the culture. Uwe is like UWE Ball with like a O.
Yes.
This man's made House of the Dead, 2 Alone in the Dark movies, 3 BloodRayne movies, a Postal movie, apparently a Dungeon Siege movie, which I didn't even know Dungeon Siege was that like popping to get a movie adaptation starring Jason Statham of all people, and Ron Perlman. What the fuck? Nah, bro, they just throwing. Matthew Lillard was in this? Nah, bro, they just making shit up. He made a Far Cry movie. I did just recently watch the Far Cry movie. That was actually pretty hilarious. That was a pretty hilarious movie. Oh, yeah, you're right. There was like 3 Hitman movies. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh. What the hell? Apparently there's a Watchdog movie coming out in 4 months, but, you know.
4 months? Is it like a CG movie?
It says Watchdog movie coming out January 30th, 2026.
Nah.
And the Street Fighter movie.
2026.
Oh wait, no, that's not next year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are you talking about? That's so long.
I don't know.
Hey, you know what I did see though that I want to talk to you about? I saw 2 movies recently. I saw Joker, Joker 2, Electric Boogaloo, and I saw Piece by Piece.
I haven't heard of Piece by Piece.
That's the Lego Pharrell biopic.
Oh.
Yeah. So you had to see Joker. You gotta see that shit. Were you a fan of the first one, or did you?
I like the first one. I like the first one more for like if you take out the like Arkham and like Batman and all that bullshit from just like a like.
Oh, then you'll like the second one, I think. More.
Okay.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, because it's even less. Like they like were like, let's get away from it even more. The whole Arkham sort of idea.
Because I feel like that's what made Joker so fun is because like he doesn't even become the Joker at the end, and I like that. I like the fact that it kind of was like a character, like where I like comic book movies that take characters and put them in like different lights. Like I don't like ones people are like comic book and are like, oh, what story are they gonna tell? Are they gonna tell the Killing Joke with this one? Like no, nigga, just
okay, yeah, you're gonna
just
like
tell something unique, and that's why I like Joker 1. But
okay, yeah, I think based off what you just told me, nigga, you're gonna be the 1% that likes this movie.
You know I like train wrecks, so from what I hear, a lot of people are calling this a train wreck. So
no. The movie is not. First off, structurally, the movie is not bad. I think with the movie, like it sets out to do something and it succeeds at that thing very well. I think there's some pacing issues slightly, and some questions to be, but like visually and the way, like. It's not a train wreck. It's more of like what the movie is saying and certain creative choices that is so divisive. I think this is going to be a cult classic 3-5 years. Easy. So watch that if you can. In theaters. And also watch the Lego Pharrell movie in theaters. Because that shit was so cool. I don't agree with the idea to use Legos for a documentary. One, because I think that you can't tell anyone's ages. It was a documentary? Yeah, it's a documentary.
Oh, I thought it was just like a story about his life, but in Legos.
No. Like it's like real, a documentary, like documentary style. There's like a story like you would, like you're imagining, but it's like people sitting down and talking to like the camera little like side a documentary. Stories. Yeah. But it's fun. It's really fun. It's not for kids. It's so funny. I wish it was PG-13 or R even, but they went for the Lego thing, so they definitely made it,
PG. Yeah.
I don't know what kid was. This movie would be boring for a kid. Like if you're not like in love with Legos and love Pharrell, like this is. But no, it's so cool.
Kids that are, this is like, yo.
Yeah, like if I was a kid, I'd be like, oh hell yeah, I got to see this. But there's not a lot of kids that care about Pharrell to that extent.
Bro, you got Chad Hugo in here, bro. This shit crazy.
Is that fucking Pusha T? Hell yeah. Like, nah. So it's really good. I would take Devin, go see those 2 movies. But it's really cool. Like all the songs and like there's some shit I didn't even know. But
you didn't know he made Rump Shaker?
No, not production wise. Yeah, like, well, for one, I didn't know that he wrote Teddy Riley's verse, and he taught him how to rap that verse in that song. Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like I knew he wrote his verse, but I didn't know that he like Teddy was like, I don't know how to fucking rap this, and fucking Pharrell was like, here, it's like, do it like this, and then he fucking. I didn't know that. Yeah. But there's other like really cool things,
Go.
It's.
I
I think as a Pharrell fan, you'll appreciate it. And I mean, it doesn't answer all your questions about Pharrell, unfortunately. I think
it's more so like a Pharrell just wants to highlight all the shit that he done and like Lego form and have people, you know, suck
it's
him
confusing.
a little bit.
It's confusing because I feel like I just don't get the Lego choice feels like a Pharrell choice. Like I just want to be different.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't make sense for the documentary the way it's shot. Because it opens up with like Pharrell as a Lego walking through his house, like a camera following him, you know, like a fucking documentary.
Like it
and I'm
probably
like, what is why?
Because yeah, especially because Pharrell has been around people that have like Jay-Z and stuff like that record the entire like album making process, like
yeah,
full camera crew. So it feels like if he was going to make a like video like this, it would be mad cool if he had all this like found footage of like him making all of these hits and being like, this is the studio. Because like we would watch that, we'd be in the fucking theater, like yeah, bro, that nigga, yeah. But like in Lego form, it's like,
But and then niggas, everybody looks the same because Legos only have so much expression and so much they can do.
The same fucking eyes.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't. Is that Pharrell or is that Shay or is that Pusha T or is that Jay-Z? Like, there's so many times where like it's a wide shot and it's multiple Legos and I'm like, wait, who's who right now? I actually don't know.
Yeah,
and because it's also like, you know, because it's also going through time, you can't tell like what age, what part of what time in Pharrell's life you're at because the Legos look the same. You can't tell like, oh, is that when you were 15 or is that when you were 25? Like I don't know, and they don't say it, so it's weird. There's like a weird, but it's fun nonetheless. There's some really funny moments. Snoop Dogg is a highlight for sure in that.
Say less. I got one for you. I got a movie for you. I watched the other day Blink Twice. This is a movie starring Channing Tatum, directed by Zoe Kravitz. I think it's her directorial debut.
Blink Twice that's newer, right?
Yeah. This just came out.
Yes. I've heard of this one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is her first like directorial like movie, but nigga.
Yeah.
Nigga. Like, okay. First of all, just found out that apparently they're married. Didn't know that about Channing Tatum and Zoe Kravitz. Didn't know that until just now. Weird movie to have your husband star in, but I have a thing for like movies that are weird. Well, I don't want to say weird, but like I have a thing for movies. Like I like movies that are weird in terms of like they're doing something weird in terms of like cinematography or like the story or stuff like that. Like I like movies that are just like, even if it's bad, like it's like, okay, but it's trying something. Okay. This movie's trying something. It's trying a lot of stuff. And for me personally, like it's like one of those like thriller Get Out looking ass, like movies. And for me, the subject matter, I was like, like, there's a particular moment where like I guess they do like the big reveal of like what's weird and what's wrong with everything going on in the movie. I don't want to give away any more than that, but like I was like physically repulsed, and I guess that is the sense of what they try to do. But I don't know. I just hate movies where it's like, nigga, that shit might be real. Like some shit like that might be really happening, bro. And like, I don't know. But it was still a really good movie. Like I liked the mystery. I think in the future she has a really good like, if this is what her directorial debut is, I feel like Zoe Kravitz should stick to directing because
you liked it. What it was? Did you watch it in theaters?
No, I watched it on streaming.
Oh, what's it on?
I think it's on Amazon.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I remember seeing a little bit of press for it, and I was thinking, I was like, oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah, I watched that, and then I watched an old but faithful. Spirited Away. What a great movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
It's a great movie. Devin's actually never watched that.
Wow.
To be honest,
Has she seen?
she's a very sheltered child. I'm not gonna lie to you, because like we were talking about the Pharrell movie, and I was just gonna say like at the same time, like there was a point where we were listening to that SWV song, and I was like, you know, that's Pharrell singing in the background, right? Like that's not Michael Jackson. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, that's Pharrell. And she was like, what? Yeah. I never knew that. And I was like, I thought I put you on game already.
Wait, so she's never seen Spirited Away? Does that mean that she's not seen a lot of anime movies?
No. Until recently. Like, I forced her to watch Naruto, like, when we first moved in together. And we only got the first part of Naruto until the time skip. And I think she watched, like, the first episode of, like, Shippuden. And then she was like, I have 400 more episodes? No, thank you. And I was like, understandable.
No. Well, because, I mean, I wanted to get at least into just, like, the, when they're kids.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
that's it, which is like maybe 160 episodes, I think.
Yeah, exactly. If you cut out all the filler, it's like 140.
Yeah, but I mean, some of the filler is pretty funny. I always remember
I didn't skip the Kakashi episode where they're like trying to find the mask. I was like, you can't skip
that. Or there's the Bakochi beetle or something like that. They're like looking for this fucking stinky ass beetle. They're on a mission. It's just so funny.
I know which one you're talking about.
Like,
there's also
really
silly. There's the one where the cat lady leaves, and then she goes to they go to find the cat lady, and they find like their daughter or whatever.
Oh, I don't remember that one. But a lot of them are so good though.
That whole like section of like filler was actually really good. There's like the arc where like Mitsuki comes back and like.
Yeah. Some of them don't work later on, I feel like, but some of the earlier or all the ones where they're off doing side missions as a team, I think really work. Yeah, like. I didn't even finish Shippuden, honestly. I was like, I'm good. This is getting...
I wanted to watch it with her because I've never watched Shippuden. I only read it during the time when it was released. But she's into One Piece now. She loves One Piece. She's like in Thriller Bark right now. She's knocking them out. She's going through it. But
I had to tell you something Elise told me in theaters. So check this out. We're sitting there. Dragon Ball Z trailer shows up, right? For some fucking one of the movies. And I'm like, man, they're still going with Dragon Balls. Like, what the fuck is this?
They just released a new series.
And I'm like, and I was telling her, I'm like, I don't know, they need to stop with this. Dragon Ball Z, it's not that great. Like, I get pumping out like the games are fine, but like
you can keep pumping those out. I'll keep playing them. It's okay.
Yeah, telling the same story, but like these other stories, I'm like, are people even into them? They don't even. The character designs look fucking weird, and I'm just like, I don't understand what's going on here. And she was like, well, what about One Piece? And I was like, what about One Piece? And she's like, that's been going for a long time. And I'm like, yeah, but they got stories to tell. Like,
I'm going to say, that's one continuous story.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball got like 3 different spin-off post-ending shits that like...
Yeah.
You can go off into, is it GT? Is it Super? Is it the movies? Is it Daima now?
Nick, when it was fucking blue-haired... like pink-haired Saiyans, I'm just like, is this what we're doing now? Like, are we out of ideas? I feel like
Super
here?
Saiyan 4 was so 5 because it was so different. But maybe it's just because I was a kid. When they were like monkeys and they got the tails and like.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's 4. Yeah. That's all. Yeah, and it makes sense. Like the monkeys were at least like built in. Yeah, but like all this additional shit that they're adding on, it feels.
Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Ultra Instinct, Ego, God of Destruction.
Nah. Personally, I don't fuck with it, and I feel like they're really fucking milking it. But you could see the creative juices have run out a long time ago.
Hey, man, this is Akira Toriyama's last anything, bro. Let him have it.
Akira Toriyama's dead.
Berserk's dead.
Yuji Horii, I think is his name. Yuji Horii. No, wait, let me get... The composer of Dragon Quest. He just died as well. And I was thinking about how that series is just losing all of its, like, main people. Dragon Quest.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Not the...
Koichi Sugiyama is his name. Koichi Sugiyama. Yeah, but I'm just like, damn, they just, like, that's pretty much all Dragon Quest was. Like, was Akira Toriyama's designs, and people loved the music. And so now that those two are gone, I'm like, what? It's like if like Persona lost Shogi Morimu. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I feel like this is a good, nice, pivotal like change for Dragon Quest, because I feel like for a long time Dragon Quest is kind of like a funny series. It was kind of like I felt like it was a
goofy,
quarantine,
like lighthearted.
Yeah. Like, when's the last time? Like, I guess like people did play Dragon Quest 11, and if you played Dragon Quest 11, I guess there's people that are like, oh wow, Dragon Quest 11 was amazing, blah blah blah, say blah. But it doesn't get the same respect and love as like when Final Fantasy, like whenever Final Fantasy comes out with anything, niggas is like Final Fantasy. But like Dragon Quest,
in the West, in Japan, they get days off when that shit comes out. So I mean,
I guess they don't really have to give a shit about us if Japan, you know.
Exactly.
If the hood love it, the hood love it. But I mean,
exactly.
I guess for me, it's like
it ain't for us.
Give me something. Like, switch it up. Give me Dragon Quest 12. Change the art style from Akira Toriyama. Just switch it all up and be and just be like, this is new Dragon Quest.
Or just call it Dragon Quest 1. Just fucking start from the beginning.
They can't do that because they about to re-release Dragon Quest 1 with the little Octopath Traveler filter on it.
That's right.
Yeah, they about to release the first 3.
I've never been a fan of the whole, like, what is it? The
Pixel HD?
No. When they go into because Dragon Quest has the first-person turn-based battles, so you don't see your character. You just
I know
see
what you're
monster.
talking about. Yeah, you just see.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like that at all. And they're all like that up until I think. Which one do I have? I have Dragon Quest 8. I think Dragon Quest 8 changes that. I don't know, but and those pixel remasters you're talking about that have the what'd you call it?
Pixel HD
Octopath filter. You said the Octopath filter.
Like, what was the Star Ocean 2 just released with that shit? And it's like, people are like, bro, this is amazing. This is this is one of those things I'm talking about where I'm like, people are like, this is a definitive version of you can play Star Ocean 2. Yeah. And it's like, no, that shit looks fucking ugly, bro. Just let me play Star Ocean 2, bro. I'll play that. I won't want to play. I don't know. I think that's why I haven't played Octopath Traveler. I feel like it's an acquired taste. And I feel like...
Oh, you're not a fan of like the look of it?
I don't
really?
I feel like if you're gonna give me HD and bloom and shadows and all that shit, then nigga
just remake it.
Nah, not even that. Like, if you're gonna go all out with the HD and all the other shit, don't give me pixels, nigga. Like,
wow.
Give me a model. Give me some polygons. You already obviously have polygons there, so you can do the shadows and the parallaxing and all the other bullshit. Like, just spend the extra bread. Go ahead and do it. Like, I mean, there's a difference. Like, for example, Time and Eternity does something. It tries to do like 2D and 3D. You know what I mean? There's games that try, like Paper Mario, that try to do 2D and 3D, but it's designed to be 2D and 3D. Like, these games are obviously just pixel-based games, and they were like, put the Unreal Engine filter on that bitch and call it a day. And people will like, be like, wow, it looks amazing. But it's like, does it?
That's crazy. Amazing? Wait, so did you not play, or did you not like? It was a JRPG I played last year, I think, and it was pixel based, but it was like kind of like that same Octopath Traveler sort of look.
Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars, yes. Sea of Stars. You didn't like the look of that?
But see, Sea of Stars, everything is pixelated. Like, even the shadows. A little bit. Like, I mean, obviously there's like, you know, some probably like lighting effects or something like that, like 3D lighting effects on those pixels to like make it stand out more. But I don't know, I feel like that kind of like defeats the purpose once you start adding. I think that's why I also didn't like like, I liked the gameplay of Anno Mutatum back when we played it, but I feel like once you start adding like shadows and all this extra post-processing to the pixels, it kind of takes away the effect of the pixels. Like, if you're going to go pixels, like, I want you to shadow in the pixels too. Like, old games shadowed in the pixels. Like, there was like static lighting of like, I want this to be exactly like pixel. Pixels are a cultivated like art style. You can't just, I mean, you can, because people have done it and people like it, but I mean, for me personally, I think that's another reason. That's why I don't fuck with all these like PS1 survival horror ass games. Is because they kind of lose the. I don't want to say that. Like, okay,
Hold on. What's going on?
Mind you, I just played like 7 of those during the Steam Next Fest. I've downloaded like 30 demos, and that's all I've been playing all week is fucking demos of games. And half of them are survival horror games, and they have the same fixed camera, the same inventory, the same controls, the same shitty pixelated PS1 graphics, same and it's like after a while, it's like, bruh, I get it. Like, can we get a PS2? Can we get one inspired by Baroque? Can we get something inspired by like fucking something other than Resident Evil and Silent Hill, bro? Like, please. Even the one that was inspired by Parasite Eve that I just played, I was like, bruh, I get it. Like,
yeah, I don't think we're there yet. We need to move forward a bit more because people are still PS1 graphics now are charming, but PS2 graphics, people are calling some games. Oh, this has like it's a derogatory term. Like, oh, that's PS2 graphics.
Yeah.
So we still need like 10 years before we can move into like, oh yeah, it's PS2 graphics.
Just like how pixel games back in the day, like when Shovel Knight and all that stuff came out, like pixel games for a while were overplayed, and now it's just like, it's like zombie games. Like pixel and zombie games came out around the same time, and they were just overplayed for a while. Yeah. And then now they're just normalized into like, that is what it is. And like, I feel like that's what PS1 games are going to be. There's going to just be a time where it's just like, that's just an aesthetic now. That's just an art style. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think so.
And then eventually, I feel like Bomber Cyberpunk and maybe like Abyss X-Zero. But even then, I think that's more like Mega Man Legends, which is still PlayStation 1. I feel like those are going to be like the games that start setting the tone for like what Dreamcast PS2 core graphics are. Yeah. Because Bomber Cyberpunk looks amazing, but PS2 has graphics.
Does it have PS2 graphics? I thought it had more of like. See, that's the issue. Is that right now a lot of Switch games that aren't like first party
like that.
Look like but they look ugly because they're just like our minds are like expecting something better, you know?
Right.
And like, what game just came out? Raynaudis, something like that. You heard of this game?
Yes.
Raynaudis?
Yes.
That looks like a fucking PS2 game, but it's just like gross because it's on the Switch. It's just like you know. So yeah, we just don't have.
But Raynaudis looks shitty.
That's what I'm saying.
It looks shitty just because it looks shitty, and it's probably also because of the Switch making it just look like that. But like Bomber Cyberpunk, like even the lighting of Bomber Cyberpunk is like PlayStation 2. Like just looking at screenshots, you're like if I told you like, hey, bro, we need to play this game, it's like BOTR as fuck. Like I'm trying to tell you, like you would like this shit. What system did it come out on? It came out on PlayStation 2. You wouldn't bat an eye. Like that's the difference. And it's not even like in a bad way. It's just that's the style they went for, and it works.
Yeah, it looks like a PS2 game. That shit look like ass though. For real, bro. That shit looks like ass. Not gonna lie. The next time we record will be the awards show.
Damn.
That's kind of wild. Yeah, think about that. And that's gonna be what, mid December, early December, maybe.
Yeah, we gotta start the voting process now, man. We gotta figure this out, man. Listen, this year we're vetoing all y'all choices, bro, because y'all gonna do us dirty again. Y'all gonna be like, oh, this city. No, fuck y'all. We're not doing no More Heroes 2 winning every category this time. Fuck
yeah,
y'all.
who would be would it be Dissidia, you think? The pick that everybody would choose?
It'll be Dragon's Dogma. It'll be Dragon's Dogma. It'll be Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, I can see that.
Best presentation. Honestly, I would only put Dragon's Dogma. I would only put Dragon's Dogma under best gameplay. Looking at everything else, that would be the only category that wins. Best presentation, best story, best gameplay, BOTR of the year, banned from the rack.
Yeah. Front of the rack.
front of the rack. Yeah, front of the rack. That was our just general game of the year. Bro, is that all the categories? I don't know. You gotta ask them.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
right? That's it, right?
Well, because best presentation is like art stuff. I think that's good. So you're not putting Death by Degrees in there anywhere. You're not putting Dark Sector for best art style. You're not putting Dragon's Quarter for best gameplay.
Soundtrack. We got best soundtrack too.
That's right.
Yeah. In the
best
replay
soundtrack.
award. Which ones even have sequels? BloodRayne.
Dark Sector technically, right?
We're not playing Warframe. I'll tell you now.
But the replay reward doesn't mean replay its sequel. It means replay that game, right?
Yeah, it was either replay that game or play a future, another entry of that. Yeah. So I guess anything could win a replay award. I mean, we kind of already did one of the replay awards.
What did we do? What do you mean?
We played Dragon's Dogma 2. Wow.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that came out this year too. Wow,
bro, I'm telling you, this year is a fucking blur, bro.
It is.
It's so much shit that came out, bro. It's insane.
All right, well, guys, happy Halloween. I hope you go out there, dress up, get some candy for us. I like dots. I like hold on, I like Twizzlers, gummies, lifesavers. I like Baby Ruths.
Give me your sweet tarts.
Give me your Sondi. Yeah, okay. Twizzy. Yeah.
Give me your Crunch Bars.
Oh, you like okay, good, because I don't like those. I like a Snickers.
You can have my Snickers. I don't like Snickers. You can have my Snickers.
Cool. I like anything with peanuts, though. Payday.
I used to be allergic to peanuts, so you can have everything. Yeah.
Perfect. Actually, what's your favorite candy before we go?
Twizzlers. Hands down.
Wow.
The black kind.
I don't think I've ever had the black kind. Shut the fuck.
You never had black licorice?
Oh, well, like I've had black licorice, but Twizzlers. Okay, so
I don't think they sell them anymore. I don't think they sell the black kinds anymore. I think they realized like nobody was buying them joints.
Yeah, because Twizzlers taste so different than like even red vines. Like the red one. So like they're, I don't know. So I would imagine that the black Twizzlers would also taste a bit different. Maybe not too strong.
People like to like clown on me when I tell them like I used to like as in middle school, that was all like when I used to eat Twizzlers, when I talk about Twizzlers, I was talking about black Twizzlers. I used to crush black Twizzlers, bro. Like that was my shit. Like if we were going to the movies, I'd be like, give me some black Twizzlers.
Well, okay. I like Raisinets, so I was also clowned on because it's like old people sort of.
Yeah, thing. Swedish Fish. I used to crush some Swedish. My mom every year for fucking Halloween, kids used to not come to our house because she was notorious for just going to the dollar store and getting a giant bag of like Swedish Fish and passing those out. And kids were like, I don't want Swedish Fish, so I'm not knocking on that house. So when we come back from trick or treating, she would still have a big ass bowl of Swedish Fish. So it's like, guess we're eating Swedish Fish.
Yeah, they're like. Swedish Fish to me are very similar to dots. Like the texture, like they're pretty much
just they are the flavor, same. Though. It's just different. Like they don't even have a flavor. It's just chewy.
It's just
chewy.
All right. Well, you go have fun with your friends. Everybody out there, be safe on Halloween night.
See y'all later. Y'all be safe. Get y'all candy on.
All right. Peace.
Peace.